Hey, what is up? So I just switched over to the bulk now, and I was looking for what exactly I should buy on the bulk. So I went ahead and composed a shopping list, bought a bunch of food, really healthy food that's going to give me high T, great pumps, and maximize my gains. And I figured, why not share the shopping list? Like, why send people through the pain of looking for all these foods when I could just give you the shopping list. So in today's video, I wanted to explain to you what exactly I bought. I'm going to go through carbs first, and then I'm going to explain a bit of fats, and then we're going to go into my protein sources and where you should be getting most of your protein sources from. So, my first carb that I have for you is going to be oats. Now, you could eat them in any manner, but the matter of the fact is that oats are just simply a great way to get carbs in. You don't want to be eating excess amounts of them because they do have some anti-nutrients. So if you eat a crazy amount of oats, then your testosterone may not be as high. It's hard to say how much this impacts your testosterone, but I still think sticking to around 2 servings or around 300 calories of oats is a great thing to throw out in the morning if you're working out in the morning, or just pre-workout in general. And then next thing should come at no surprise. Next thing I have is honey. You really got to buy honey because it's just genuinely insane. It boosts your testosterone like crazy, has insane nutrients, and it's pure sugar that you're going to be utilizing in your workout. Now, I recommend working out sort of around lunchtime or right after lunch if you're on the bulk, because you want to have most of your sugar planned pre-workout, because what this is going to do is it's going to lower your cortisol. When your cortisol is lower, your testosterone is going to be able to pulse. If you didn't know, when you're working out, your testosterone starts going up for the first hour, and then it starts going back down. No more gains after that. But how you combat that is by stunting your cortisol with sugar. The reason your testosterone stops going up after an hour is because you have an excess of cortisol in your system. And like I said a couple times, sugar stunts that cortisol. So what I personally like doing is making some overnight oats, sticking some milk in there, sticking some other proteins in there, some chia seeds, and then I throw in some honey, some bananas, and that creates an amazing carb source to really fuel you and give you the greatest pump during your workout. You will feel insane if you put all the proper sources in your overnight oats. But on to the next thing. It's going to be bananas. Now, my thought process on bananas is that they're, again, just such an amazing thing to have. I've never heard of somebody having too much potassium. I think a lot of people really underestimate electrolytes and underestimate the amount of electrolytes they're getting. Almost nobody has enough electrolytes, and the daily requirements aren't going to be enough for you. Why? Because you're an active individual. Most individuals in America aren't active enough. So most foods, you look at the back, maximum, they have like 5% of your daily potassium. Eat one banana, that's 100%. You eat 2 bananas a day like me, that's 200%. Boom, you're filled. Your magnesium, go to a supplement. Just buy a magnesium supplement. You got your magnesium in. Salt, that's easy. Just throw some salt on your meats, and boom, you got all the electrolytes. There's one more, but I can't think of it right now because it's not too much of a concern on whether you get it. I don't pay much attention to it. Now, on to sort of a hybrid protein carb source. It's going to be skim milk. Now, why do I have skim milk? Simply because I struggle with eating too much fat, because a lot of the healthy foods for you that are going to boost your testosterone are going to have a lot of fat in them. Fat is great for testosterone, but you don't want to overkill it. So I simply find that having skim milk in my diet is the best way to go ahead and up my protein intake and get quick carbs into my body. Now, on to my fats. I'm going to be giving you 2 fats right now, And that's for one main reason. The reason I'm going to give you 2 fats and that's it is because what I just said a second ago. All my proteins are going to really have fat in them, and that's where I'm going to get all my fat in. Because all these meats with fat in them also have way more nutrients. You go for an egg is going to have a bunch of nutrients in it. You go for beef is filled with nutrients. You really can get all of your nutrients from meat, and that's why the carnivore diet exists. And guess what? The carnivore diet doesn't have chicken in it. That's why I don't eat chicken on a bulk. I don't eat any chicken. Actually, I have a bag of chicken bites I'll show you in a second, but that's just an emergency. If I'm running late for class, then that's what I go for. I try to avoid that and stick with my cleaner meats, but I'm going to show you the fats, and then I'll get a bit more into that. The first fat I have is butter. Now, I recommend eating a lot of butter because butter is pure cholesterol and nutrients. You know, studies actually show that people who consume butter live longer. Butter actually improves your health despite what people say. Butter is amazing for you. So I choose to use butter as my only oil because almost every other oil really does crash your testosterone and is not too anabolic. It's not going to be doing you favors compared to butter. It's going to be genuinely helping you make more gains. I could confidently say the second I replaced canola oil with butter, I started to make a lot more progress inside of the gym. Now, the next food I have for you is cheese. The cheese or the fats in cheese are going to be great for your testosterone levels. So that's why I recommend it. It's going to have some protein on the side too, push you a bit further towards your protein goals. I like to always be getting some protein in with things, sort of slip in protein into my carbs and my fats. That way I could go a little bit above my protein goal, because a lot of your proteins in your calorie tracking or just in general are going to be low quality proteins. You don't know how much your body's actually utilizing. So I like to overkill it, honestly. It's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to benefit you. And especially if you're not tracking calories, then that's the one thing you could always be safe with: protein. So those are my 2 fats. Now, I know all of you are probably dying to see the proteins. They're pretty basic. The first simple one is going to be ground beef in my glass container. Always use a glass container because plastics kill your testosterone. When you microwave them, that's how they all leak into your food. But I'm using the ground beef because ground beef is just filled with nutrients. High in protein, you get it pretty lean, and it's not necessarily just the fat that's filled with protein. You could get it very lean, and I mean, I make way more gains when I'm on ground beef as my main protein source compared to chicken. I just make more progress. I feel more full. I see more muscle compared to fat being built. So I recommend just eating those red meats instead of eating stuff like chicken. Why? There's no way to prove this, but I think it's just the excess of nutrients. It's loaded with zinc and some other things that really do help testosterone. So that's why I go to ground beef. And then let me grab my eggs and my egg white. I have a unique way of going about this too, because I said a second ago, my fats sometimes get too high. I stick to around 80 grams of fat a day, maybe bumping that up to 90 soon, but I'm at 80 grams of fat a day right now, so I get pretty close to that. So I'll show you the technique I use for eggs. Now, for eggs, I go ahead and use 2 egg whites and 1 normal egg as my ratio. This is going to make it so you get 10 grams of protein from 50 calories on top of your 80 calorie extra large egg. That's 130 calories. An egg, I believe, has 7 grams of protein. So 17 grams of protein and 130 calories. Great ratio compared to just eating eggs. And it still tastes good. It still has the yolk in it. It still tastes great. So I honestly don't notice much of a difference at all when I'm doing this ratio. And if you're ever looking for some cheap egg whites, just go to Costco. You get 6 of these things for like $13 where I'm at. So these cartons are not that expensive. I've always avoided egg whites because they are so expensive, and I'm a college student. But yeah, you could go to Costco and load up on those things, and they aren't any more expensive than any other protein source. Now, next for you, I have cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is something that a lot of people are going to be really turned off by. But you could replace this with Greek yogurt. Really doesn't matter. I like to throw this in my oats, and you could throw Greek yogurt in your oats too. It serves the same purpose. I will say you don't really notice the curds in the oats, so I think even if you're a cottage cheese hater, you could utilize this in your oats. But 110 calories for 13 grams of protein, that's pretty good. And once again, 5 grams of fat, 5 grams of carbs, very good macros. So I'm also getting a little bit of fat in with it. Like I said, I'm getting all my fat from other sources. Now, I'd like to mention dairy protein is almost always very high quality. I mean, it's normally the type of protein that's going to make you make the most gains in the gym. It's very anabolic, and you just don't want to miss out on dairy despite some of the issues it has with the processing right now as far as your health. But yeah, you shouldn't just completely skip out on dairy because of that. And with that, that is everything I have for you. I'll give you a bonus. No, I won't. My girlfriend's mom made this, so I don't know how to make it, but she makes all these herb stuff. If you're interested, then let me know in the comments, and I'll let you know how to make some sleep tea, and I'll go ahead and ask her. Puts me right out, straight to dreaming, straight to REM sleep. So I think that's definitely helping my tea. But overall, that's all I have for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found something from this. I have coaching first link in the description. If you want more of me, you can message me on Instagram if you have questions. And as always, remember, as lifelong learners, perspicacity is our grindstone for success. Keep on grinding, boys.